Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Kara Shirley. I'm the digital news desk host here for WLBT Plus, and we are now waiting on the trial to begin for Carly Gregg. Carly Gregg is the now 15-year-old, then 14-year-old, who is accused of killing her mother, Ashley Smiley, in March of this year, and attempting to kill her stepfather, Heath Smiley, in March of this year. We have been waiting for the trial to start since 9 o'clock this morning. They had to first go through and pick out the juries. And of course, that part of the trial process is not aired for the safety and to keep the jury pool private and keep who the juries are private. So we did not air any of that. We could not air any of that. We are waiting, though, right now for them to get going in the courtroom. We do have the live camera up and rolling. They were on recess, or they're on recess until 2:30. So we've got about 10 more minutes before they are set to come back from recess. We're told that we would hear testimony today, or at least opening arguments. And I want to give you guys just a little, I guess, warning, if you will, notification of what is going to be happening through this trial. So if there's ever a time where we have to turn the live stream off, or we're not able to show the stream in the courtroom during the trial, that is possibly because there is a minor on the stand. And when a minor is on the stand as a witness, we cannot share that and we cannot show that. So if that happens, of course, I'll come on and let you guys know what's going on. But if that happens, you know what is going on. So let's see. So, Toy asking here on YouTube, she is saying the jury has been picked, though. So, as far as we are aware, the jury has been picked. We have been told that they're getting set up now for the opening arguments. So, that is what we are preparing for. Hoping and assuming that the jury pool has been picked. Lauren asking here, how long has the trial been going on today? Well, they were in court at 9 o'clock this morning, but the trial per se hasn't actually started. They've picked the jury, and that's what they were doing this morning. And so now we're waiting to hear those opening arguments happen. Mario is asking, what about transcripts of the minor? Mario, that's a great question. I'm not sure. But we do have a reporter in the courtroom. Morgan Harris is in the courtroom right now, and she's been there all day during the jury selection. So she'll be able to, at the very least, let us know what the minor witnesses said and what they testified to, even if we can't show the live stream or the transcripts of that happening. Is Woody going to take the stand? I'm not sure who Woody is. Let me know about who Woody is. Toy saying, thank you. You are welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you tuning in. G-Man saying, thanks for streaming. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Yeah, I've been here all day. We're just waiting. We are waiting for the trial to start, waiting for jury to be selected and all that stuff. So that's what we're waiting on right now. Again, recess is set to be over at 2:30. Well, let me give you a little refresher, or maybe even some information that you may not know. But Carly Gregg is accused of killing her mother, and her mother is Ashley Smiley. She allegedly killed her mother in earlier this year. It was March the 19th that this allegedly happened, or that this happened, that Carly allegedly made happen. Carly, what we are being told is that she killed her mother. She then called a friend, told her friend that she needed to come over, that it was an emergency. The friend's father drove her over, dropped her off. It was at that time that Carly showed the friend, allegedly, this is what we've been told, that Carly showed the friend her mother's dead body, asking her if she's ever seen a dead person before, then showed her the gun that she had and said that she was going to also use that on her stepfather when her stepfather came home. And when her stepfather came home, she did, in fact, use the gun on him, shot him once in the shoulder. He was able to wrestle the gun away from her. Carly ran and was taken into custody about 30 minutes later, or 30 minutes after authorities arrived at the home. she was taken into custody. At first, she was taken to the Rankin County Youth Detention Center, but she was soon charged as an adult for these crimes, and she was taken to the adult prison, our adult jail. And that's where she has been. She's been there in isolation, solitary confinement, because she can't be out with general population because of her age. Like I said, when she was arrested, when this happened back in March, she was 14 years old. She is now 15 years old. She has since celebrated a birthday. One of the things about Carly that a lot of people may not know is that she is actually a incredibly intelligent young lady. She scored a 30 on her ACT when she was 13 years old. She skipped a grade. I believe she skipped fourth grade. Carly is an incredibly intelligent young lady, which makes this all the more sad, because it's not only this young life that has done this horrible thing that is going to stay with her one way or the other, will be with her forever, whether it be on her record or in her mind forever. And it's just sad to see the talent of such a gifted young person be wasted. It's sad to see the life of the mother, Ashley, be taken. It's sad to see all of the lives that are affected by this, from Carly's mother side of the family to all the way across the board. You got students, you've got teachers at the schools that they were attending, both Carly and her mother as a teacher. And it's just a very sad thing to think about, all the people that are affected by this circumstance, this thing that happened, this crime. Carly is planning on, what we have been told, she's planning on filing for an insanity plea here. And so that is what we are going to be watching for. That's what the jury is going to be watching for. That's what their orders have been, is for the insanity plea. What do you believe? Do you believe that she is not guilty? Do you believe that she is guilty? Or do you believe that she is not guilty by reason of insanity, and that she has been recovered, or that she is guilty she is not guilty by reason of insanity, and she is not covered, and she is still a danger to the public? It's a lot of the decisions that the jury has to make here. And from what we have seen in pretrial with this, and what the attorneys have said, both at the defense and on the state side, have said that they are expecting this trial to take anywhere between 3 to 5 days. And the pretrial paperwork, pretrial hearings that they had, we learned that the state had 55 witnesses that they had planned to call, and the defense had 9 witnesses. This was at the last pretrial hearing transcript that I saw. And so we know that many witnesses is planned to be called. Now, one of the witnesses for the defense was deemed unable to go, because the witness list was filed after a deadline that was set by Judge Dewey Arthur, who is the judge in Rankin County that is overseeing this case. So right now, what we're doing is we are waiting. We're waiting for the trial to begin. We're waiting for them to get into the courtroom and to hear those opening statements. Once those opening statements get started, then it's on from there. We'll be watching, figuring out, and learning with all of you, hopefully learning with all of you, what is going on here. Why did this happen? What is the motive behind this? That's something that has been completely unclear from the beginning. What is the motive? We don't know what the motive was. So that's one thing that we are all anxiously awaiting learning during this trial. Another thing that we found out was that Carly was also offered again a 40-year plea deal by the state of Mississippi. And again, she rejected that plea deal. So that was offered to her one time before. I believe it was on September the 9th that it was offered, and it was rejected. And then it was offered again today and rejected. So now she is definitely going before the jury and letting the jury decide on her fate. She is facing up to 2 life sentences, plus up to a 10-year sentence for a third charge. Her first charge is first-degree murder. The second charge is attempted murder of her stepfather, Heath Smiley. And then the third charge is tampering with evidence. The first-degree murder and attempted murder, they both have a life sentence of, or could do up to a life sentence. The tampering with evidence has up to a 10-year. So that is what she is looking at right now. And yeah, so it is wild. Something else you may not have known about Carly is that Carly was she was student of the month at her school. She was at Northwest Rankin Middle School in September of 2020. She was actually voted student of the month there. And it's sad. It's sad. The whole situation is sad. This is a trial where there's not going to be a winner in the end. There's not going to be a winner. Everybody loses here. Everybody loses here. So that's where we're at, and we are waiting. I see you guys here and looking at your comments. Wanda Brown said, did she say at the age of 13 she scored 30 on the ACT? Yes, Wanda, that's what I said. Yeah. So learned that she did score a 30 on her ACT at the age of 13. Toy saying perfect age for onset of major events. If she is, though, I am ready for the info. It is so baffling. And it is so baffling. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Toy, yes, up to 90 years is what Judge Dewey author said to her. Looking, I just have to make sure that I am saying the correct, or putting stuff that is not wrong up there on the screen. So I had to read through your comments before I post them. So give me a second. Looking here. Yes. Braden Morgan says the entire story is just sad and heartbreaking. It definitely is. Definitely is. And Danielle saying guilty. She knew what she was doing. Smart enough to try an insanity plea. There's a lot of people could think that too. Could think that way. She is very smart. She is a very smart young lady, and maybe this is a calculated move. We don't know. We don't know. But we do know that it is going to be in the hands of the jury. And so that is what we are waiting. Trial recess is supposed to be end at 2:30. It's currently 2:32. And so we are looking in the courtroom and just waiting for it to get underway. It's been run a little late a couple of times, so I would not be surprised if that didn't happen again. But if it does, it's okay. It's okay. Looking here. Lynn Smith saying here that Carly created a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Yes, that is true. That is very true. But I do appreciate all of you tuning in, everybody that is watching. Let me know where you're watching from. If you are from here in the Jackson metro area, or if you're tuning in from farther away. I know we've got a lot of people tuning in on YouTube, got a lot of you tuning in on Facebook. And then, of course, there's some of you that are tuning in on our website, WLBT.com, or our news app. And I'm just curious to know where you're watching from. Got a lot of people around here. A lot of people. I have three mice in front of me to work computer, so I may hit the wrong button every once in a while. Please forgive me if I do. Maud is tuning in from Hattiesburg. We have Leslie is tuning in Pearl. Heather is in Clinton. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Teresa is tuning in from Pearl as well. Do appreciate all of you tuning in. Wanda is in Raleigh. We've got someone from Columbia here. Jackson, Pelahatchie, North Carolina tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in from North Carolina. Arkansas here. Thank you, Leela, for tuning in. And Kathy's right here in Rankin County. We have Brown over in Natchez. So you guys are tuning in from all over the place, Austin, Texas here. Toy tuning in from Flowwood. Thank you. We have Amory. So you guys are coming in from all over the place, and we do appreciate it. You are welcome and invited to leave your comments, questions, thoughts, concerns, anything like that during this trial. We do ask that you be respectful of others and their belief and their opinions, and not call anybody any mean names or anything like that. But we also say it's a free country, so you can do what you want to do. But we do ask that you try to be respectful of each other in the comments comment section. But we do definitely appreciate you tuning in. Again, waiting for the coverage to start, and it is 2:34. They were supposed to come back from recess at 2:30. So there's no telling why they're running behind. We thought trial was going to start at 9 or closer to 9, and it did not, and that is fine. We want to make sure that the right process happens from beginning to end through the whole thing, right? We want to make sure that there is a fair trial that is given here. So we'll let them take their time. So let's see. Emily is asking, do they know why she did this? And Emily, no, we don't have a reason or a motive at this time. We're hoping to find that out with you guys during the trial. But no, there has not been a motive told as to why she did that. There's been a lot of speculation, but we're not reporting on speculation. We're going to report on what is testified here in trial. So, but no, we don't know. We do not know. And let's see, we have someone tuning in from Slidell, Louisiana. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Roylene is asking, what did she do? Okay, well, Roylene, Carly Gregg was 14 years old in March of this year. On her way, or she came home from school one day with her mother, who was a teacher at the school that she attended. She attended Northwest Rankin High School, junior high school, but her mother was a teacher there, was a math teacher there. Carly and her mother, Ashley Smiley, arrived home, and according to the security camera that they had outside and inside their home, they entered their home. Ashley went into Carly's room and retrieved something, and Carly got a gun and ended up shooting her mother, shot her mother 3 times and killed her. Carly then texted her stepfather through her mother's cell phone and asked when he was going to be home, seemingly portraying herself as her mother, who was then deceased. Then Carly called a friend of hers and told her friend that she needed to come over. That was an emergency. And while Carly was waiting for her friend to come, she is caught on camera playing and singing with their dog. So Carly's friend comes over, and Carly asks her friend if she's ever seen a dead body. Friend says no. Carly takes her friend into her bedroom where she had shot her mother and shows her friend her mother's body. Then shows her friend the gun and says to her friend that she's got more bullets for her stepfather, who is on the way home. So then her stepfather arrives home. In between this time, her friend left. All right. So her stepfather arrives home, and actually her friend is outside when the stepfather arrives home. He sees her go inside and says that she hears gunshots. That is when Carly shot her stepfather, ended up shooting him in the shoulder. Stepfather was able to get the gun away from her. Carly ran, and then she was arrested about 30 minutes after law enforcement arrived to the home. So she was charged with murder, she's being tried as an adult, charged as an adult, and charged with first-degree murder of her mother, Ashley Smiley. She is charged with attempted murder of her stepfather, Heath Smiley, and then she is charged with a third count of tampering with evidence. So she is facing up to 2 life sentences in prison, and she is facing up to a 10-year sentence for the tampering with evidence. Carly was offered a 40-year deal by the state of Mississippi, a plea deal, and she was offered that plea deal not once but twice, and both of these times she did reject that and chose to go before the jury. They are making a insanity defense for this, and so that is what we are waiting to see begin. The trial should begin shortly. We are waiting for to hear opening statements. And as soon as that happens, as soon as I see activity in the courtroom, we're going to go straight in there so you guys can watch it with us. We'll remind you something that I spoke about earlier is that there will be minor witnesses brought to the stand in this case. And when that happens, the live stream may be cut. And so if that happens, if you see the live stream cut, then understand that is because there is a minor witness on the stand and we can't show them, nor can we play their voice or anything like that. We want to try to protect those kids. We do have a reporter there in the courtroom right now. Morgan Harris has been following this, and she is there in the courtroom. She's going to be there in the courtroom every day. And so even if we may not be able to hear what happens when the minors get on stand, Morgan is there to take note of everything, and she will report on that. And you can get those reports every day during our newscast, or every evening during our newscast. If you download our app, WLBT News app, you can get notifications and everything on breaking news right then. You can also watch all of our newscasts in real time. And if you don't catch them in real time, you can certainly watch them on demand later at your convenience. So just make sure that you can get the coverage here, and then you get the coverage later too during our newscast. So looking here, I see some activity happening in the courtroom. They're centering up on the seal of Mississippi, so not a lot of activity, but as soon as they see something really happening, I'll go in there. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and I will cut over to this screen so you guys can see that. Looking here in the comments, Amanda Port is saying here, I'm neither defending nor supporting the actions, but just know that psychosis is completely possible when switching antidepressants, let alone can be an actual side effect of said medication. Just want to spread some knowledge, and that is true. That is true. That is very true. I'm looking. Ray saying a switch of medication could have caused this. I just can't see it happening just because. Understand. Oh, but I appreciate all of you tuning in. Looking here, I'm scrolling through. You got a lot of questions here, so I'm making sure that I catch everything. Lynn Smith is saying that she thought that it was because her mom took away her cell phone, and that is not something that we have heard. We don't have that as a confirmed information or anything like that, which is, if we can't get it confirmed, then we're not going to report on it. So if that was the case, we did not get anything confirmed for that. All right, I just got a text from Morgan, who is there in the courtroom, and she said that we are about to start officially. So let me, I'm going to wait until I see that camera move, and then I'm going to take you guys straight into that courtroom there. Let's see. Mia says, prayers for everyone. This child has to be hurting inside. And you hope so. You hope that that is the case. You do hope that is the case. But definitely both sides of this need prayers because, as I said earlier, this is a trial that there is not a winner. There's not going to be a winner at the end of it. There is still going to be potential and lives and all of these things lost and trauma heaped upon people, whether they were there. Imagine being the friend that Carly called over and had to see that, or being the stepfather and having to walk in and see your stepdaughter there, and to learn that she did that kind of trauma, as the trauma of this for the students at the school that were classmates of Carly or were students of her mother, Ashley. There's no winners. There's no winners at the end of this. I'm looking here at y'all's. So Deborah says, I wonder how many signs Carly showed through her behavior before it got to this. And Deborah, I do know from looking at transcripts that I hear sound that several doctors' offices were subpoenaed to get records, medical records. All right, we're going to go ahead and go straight into the courtroom. And now, thank you guys again for tuning in. Continue to leave your thoughts or questions or anything like that in the comments. And let's go to the courtroom. All right, so it looks like, or sounds like rather, that they turned the sound off. So maybe they're going to wait a few more minutes before they get that started. So we'll talk to you for a few more minutes. See what you guys have to say here in our comments section. Um, Make sure I get this. Here we go. Patricia Wilson saying praying for the family and friends. Sue Lee says here that she remember hearing something about this child being on some heavy mind altering drugs prescribed to her by an NP. I think one was Abilify. I thought that was only for adults. I believe a doctor would have to confirm this, but I know from just hearing medication side effects and things like that, that the chance of the antidepressants and things having a stronger effect on children is higher than an adult with a fully formed brain. Now, I don't know what prescriptions that she was on. I am sure that we will hear that information. I'm sure that we will hear the information of what prescriptions she was on, what prescriptions that she was switched to, the all of the details behind all of that. Um, so we will learn all of that with you guys, and waiting for the opening statements to get going here. Let's see. Toy, it says she could get up to 90 years being held in solitary too. Yes, so she has been in solitary since she was moved to the adult prison, because she can't be a part of general population because of her age. But she is being tried as an adult in the adult courts, and so that is the way that system has to work. Now, Carly did go before the judge every 30 days as required when you are a youth that is in an adult facility, just to make sure that everything is okay, to kind of almost like a check-in, if you will, with the judge. That has to happen every 30 days. And so far that has happened. And now we're at the trial. We're at the moment that we have all been waiting for to see what is going to happen. Looking lots. Jeanette saying it's a travesty all around, but she needs help. It's obvious that she needs help, not 40 years in prison. And I guess we will learn at the end of this trial if the jury agrees with you on that. That she has the first degree of murder count, first degree murder, second count, attempted murder, third count, tampering with evidence. And if she is found not guilty by reason of insanity, and that she is still deemed a threat to society, then she could be put in an institution for who knows how long, for really who knows how long, but to get that help. But it's all there's so many different variables with this. We just know that it is in the hands of the jury now. Now that we're getting to these opening statements, that means the jury has been selected, and they're probably either getting or have gotten their instructions on how they are supposed to proceed with judging this case. And now we're just waiting. Now we are just waiting. Wanda says everyone at 557 is so heartbroken by this. Such a sad situation. It is a very sad situation. Yes, she did turn down the 40-year plea deal. She had that 40-year plea deal twice. She was offered it on the 9th and then again offered today. And she did reject that plea deal. So, all right, guys. Well, what we are doing is we're just waiting now, waiting for this to get started, waiting for the opening statements to be underway. It's been a long day. It's going to be a long week, but we're going to be here with you guys going through it. Like I said, we have Morgan Harris, who is there in the courtroom right now. And anything that we can't show or doesn't get shown or talked about here, Morgan is going to be there to take a record of that for you. Make sure you tune into our newscast every night, because she's going to be giving you a breakdown of what has happened in the courtroom. So make sure you tune into our newscast. And yeah. Let's see. Amber is asking, does she have an attorney? Yes, she does. So Carly has two attorneys. She has Bridget Todd, who is her lead attorney, and her second attorney is Kevin Camp. If the name Kevin Camp sounds familiar to you, he was also the attorney for Beth Ann White. Her trial happened a few months ago. I just saw the judge's head. Let's go ahead and go back into the courtroom now. And one more, I'm sorry. So we're going to leave it in the courtroom, even though the video is silenced. We're going to leave it there in the courtroom so that as soon as this gets started, you guys are in there, okay? Just letting you know.
You've been seated and properly sworn as the jury to hear this case. The court will now give you what I call a preliminary instruction, and I ask that you pay close attention. As the trial proceeds, I may ask you if you have followed these admonitions. You are not to discuss among yourselves any subject connected with the trial until the case has been submitted to you for deliberation. You are not to converse with anyone else on any subject connected with the trial until you're discharged as jurors in this case. You are not to permit yourselves to be exposed to outside comments or news accounts of the proceedings until you are discharged as jurors in this case. You are not to conduct any independent research about this case, the legal issues, and or the parties involved. You are not to view the place where the offense was allegedly committed. You are not to form or express any opinion on this case until it has been submitted to you for deliberation. You are not permitted to mix and mingle with the attorneys, parties, witnesses, and spectators, and you are to avoid all contacts with those persons. You are required to report to the court any communication or attempt to communicate with you on the case or any subject connected with the trial. You may not take notes during the course of the trial. There are several reasons for this. It's difficult to take notes and at the same time pay attention to what a witness is saying. Further, in a group the size of yours, certain persons will take better notes than others will, and there's a risk that jurors who do not take good notes will depend on jurors who do. The jury system depends upon all jurors paying close attention and arriving at a decision. The court believes that the jury system works better when jurors do not take notes. You will notice that we do have an official court reporter making a record of the trial. However, we will not have typewritten transcripts of this record available for your use in reaching a decision in this case. During the trial, the court may be called upon to make rulings on objections or motions made by the attorneys. You should not infer from any ruling the court makes that the court has an opinion on the merits of the case favoring one side or the other. If the court sustains an objection to a question and not allows it to be answered, you should disregard any response by the witness prior to the court's ruling, and you should not speculate on what the complete answer might have been or draw any inference from the question itself. It may be necessary for me to confer with the attorneys outside of your presence. It is impossible to predict when those circumstances might arise, but I will resolve the issues before me as quickly as possible. After this instruction, the attorneys will have an opportunity to make opening statements in which they will be able to explain the facts and issues as they see them. After all of the evidence has been presented, they will have the opportunity to address you again and make their closing or final arguments. These statements and arguments are not evidence or instructions on the law. Nevertheless, they are intended to help you understand the evidence and the applicable law, and you should give them close attention. Opening by the state.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a case about Carly Madison Gregg. Carly Gregg has been charged with murdering her mother, Ashley Smiley, and attempting to murder her stepfather, Heath Smiley. She's also been charged with tampering with physical evidence for removing a camera and hiding it that captured a portion of the events. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll hear testimony throughout the next few days during this case. You'll hear about some secret life that Carly lived. You'll hear that Carly had a secret boyfriend. You'll hear that Carly had a secret iPod. that she had secret social media accounts that she was using to communicate with people on this iPod when her parents had taken her phone away. You'll hear that she was secretly cutting on her thigh using a knife. You'll hear that she secretly had burner phones her mom and stepdad didn't know about that she was using. You'll hear that she had secret weed vape pens and that she was secretly smoking those vape pens and getting high before going to school at times. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not why we're here, though. We're here because of what she did on March the 19th, 2024. We expect that you'll hear that Carly is the daughter of Ashley Smiley, the stepdaughter of Heath Smiley, that Heath and Ashley were married sometime in 2020. You'll hear that Carly's biological father had not been in her life for about a year or more, that he was a known drug user, had violent and angry tendencies. You'll hear that back in January, Carly got in trouble with her parents when they found this iPod, that they got onto her for using these secret accounts and for communicating with people. You'll hear that around the same time that she had this boyfriend they found out about and that they asked her to break up with him and that later they found out she was still seeing this boy. You'll hear at some point that Carly got in trouble at school. She was cheating. She'd found the answers to a test and gave them to the other students. You'll hear that all of this was happening about the same time that they found out Carly was cutting on her legs. You'll hear that as a concerned parent, what they did was they got Carly in therapy. She was being treated for anxiety and stress. You'll hear that she continued smoking those vape pens even after in therapy. So now I want to take you to the real reason we're here and what you'll hear. We're here because on March the 19th, 2024, Carly rode to school with her mother that day. Ashley was a school teacher at Northwest Rankin, taught geometry. Carly was in the 10th grade. You'll hear that morning, she got in a little altercation with one of her friends, cussed him out. But what you'll hear, ladies and gentlemen, from the testimony of this friend is that he was so worried about Carly's use of smoking marijuana and so worried about her being high and so worried about her having these burner phones that her mom didn't know about that he felt compelled to tell Miss Ashley Smiley that day. Ladies and gentlemen, after the incident with Carly that morning, you'll hear that he gets in touch with another friend and he's like, hey, you got to keep her distracted so I can go tell Miss Smiley what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, this friend cared about Carly. He was like, I gotta intervene. I gotta tell her. I'm afraid of what's happening. You'll hear from him that he did in fact tell Miss Smiley. That after fourth block that day, he goes and he tells Miss Smiley, hey, Carly has got these vapes. She's got this phone. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll hear then that Carly Gregg rides in the car home with her mother from school to their house. They leave school sometime after 3:30. They get home a little before 4. You'll hear that when they get inside the house, it's only their 2 dogs, Ashley Smiley and Carly Gregg. Immediately, Carly goes and lets the dogs out. You'll hear testimony that Ashley then goes into Carly's room. You'll hear that while Ashley is in her room, that Carly's still outside. At some point, Ashley finds what law enforcement believed to be the 4 boxes that contain vape pens. Testimony will be that we believe she carried them from Carly's room to her bedroom, went back to search in Carly's room. The evidence will show that almost immediately upon Carly coming inside the house, that she walks straight to her parents' bedroom, that she goes straight to her mom's side of the bed and removes a .357 Magnum from under the mattress. We believe the testimony will be that then she concealed that .357 Magnum behind her back as she walked through the kitchen. She peeks her head around. We believe the testimony will show that she peeks her head around the kitchen to make sure that her mom hasn't come out of her bedroom. We believe the evidence will then show that she walked with that .357 Magnum behind her back, walked in to her own bedroom, and then fired 3 shots into her mother, killing her. We believe the testimony will then be that that very moment after she shot and killed her mother, she then hides that gun back out of the camera, walks back into that kitchen, sits down on a stool with a gun behind her, picks up her mother's cell phone, puts her mom's passcode into the phone. We believe the testimony will be that then she texts her stepdad and said something to the effect of, "When will you be home, honey?" Testimony will be that then she waited for him to respond. "I'll be a little bit longer." She sends him a thumbs up. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe the testimony will then be that after she puts the phone back down and walks out of sight with the camera, that between the next 45 minutes or so, that the defendant reaches out to or attempts to reach out to about 5 or 6 of her friends. Some were FaceTimes, some were text messages. We believe the evidence will show that during this time, she was asking them all for help, trying to get them to come over to her house. She wouldn't tell them why. We believe that one of them's going to say he even offered to call 911, and she told him no. The evidence will also be that one of these friends did in fact come over to help Carly that day. She didn't know why, but she knew that her friend needed help, and she went to that home. We believe the evidence will show that when that friend arrived at Carly's house, that Carly walked to the front door, asked her, "Are you squeamish around dead bodies?" We believe the evidence will show that then she took that friend and showed her her dead mother laying on the floor. We believe the evidence will show that after that, she says, "I put 3 in my mom, and I got 3 more waiting for my stepdad when he gets home." We believe the evidence will show that then she tells this friend, "Hey, why don't you go wait outside in the backyard? My stepdad's about to be home." This friend will testify that she does go in the backyard and she hears gunshots. And the next thing she sees is Carly coming out of the back door. We believe the testimony will be that she fell down coming out of the back door, gets up and tells her to run. And these 2 individuals, this friend and Carly, jump over the fence and run separate directions. You'll hear testimony that there was a 911 call. You'll hear a frantic Heath Smiley telling the dispatcher, "Oh my God, she's killed her mother. She hit me in the neck. It grazed me. She tried to kill me too. She's run off." You'll hear from law enforcement when they arrived on the scene that Carly Gregg had fled the scene. You'll hear from law enforcement that when they arrived on the scene, Ashley Smiley was very much dead in the floor in Carly's bedroom, and that they found that Heath Smiley had been shot and hit in the shoulder, through and through. You will hear from law enforcement that sometime after the day of the event, they learned that there was cameras involved, that this home had surveillance video. You'll learn that one of those videos was turned over by the living victim, Heath Smiley, and it shows Carly Gregg and her friend jumping over the fence. And then you'll learn that there was another camera in the house on March the 19th, 2024. That camera was in the kitchen, and that's the camera that Carly was hiding the gun out of sight of. And you'll hear that that camera was not in the kitchen when law enforcement got there, and it was not in the kitchen where it should have been when Heath Smiley got there. It wasn't until sometime later that that camera was discovered. Ladies and gentlemen, you will hear that Ashley Smiley's cause of death, gunshot wounds to the head. Ashley Smiley's manner of death, homicide. You will hear that Heath Smiley says Carly Gregg is the one that shot at me. And on his 911 call, he said that she tried to kill him. You'll hear him say that he did not move that camera, the only other person living in the home. Ladies and gentlemen, you also hear from forensic scientists from the Mississippi Forensics Laboratory. You'll hear that both of Carly Gregg's hands tested positive for gunshot residue, both the right and the left. You'll hear that the .357 Magnum that was used to kill her mother and shoot her stepfather, they took swabs. They took a swab of the trigger and they took a swab of the hammer. And you will hear that the DNA profile that matches those swabs belongs to Carly Gregg. Ladies and gentlemen, you will also hear that there were 2 projectiles removed from Carly Gregg's mother, Ashley Smiley. One in her brain, one in her neck. And that those projectiles were tested with ballistics, and that those projectiles matched the .357 Magnum that Heath Smiley took out of Carly Gregg's hand that day on March the 19th, 2024. And ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this trial, after you've heard the evidence, the state will stand before you and we will ask that you find Carly Gregg guilty of murder, attempted murder, and tampering with physical evidence. Thank you, Your Honor.
Does the defense wish to make its opening now, or do you wish to defer?
The defense will go ahead, Your Honor.
Opening statement by the defense.
Good afternoon. I know it's been a long morning for you all, so I will try to do this as briefly as possible. This is not a whodunit case. We know who took action on March 19th to bring about the death of Ashley Smiley and the injuries to Heath Smiley. However, this is a why case. Why did it happen? Why did this exceptional child with no history of violence, who was loved by her friends, her teachers, her parents, who had a good home life, who loved her mother, why did she shoot her mom? Why did she shoot at her stepfather? The state would like you to believe the answer to those questions don't matter, but we know better than that. The answers to those questions is why we're here today, and it's what you're here to do. We believe the evidence will show that there were 3 victims on March 19th: Ashley Smiley, Heath Smiley, and Carly Smiley, and Carly Gregg, that they were all 3 victims. We believe the evidence will show that Carly had been suffering from a mental illness, that Carly was not aware on March 19th that she had a mental illness. We believe the evidence will show that Carly's parents, who lived with her, were not aware that Carly was suffering from a mental illness. We believe the evidence will show that Carly's close friends, who saw her at school every day, were not aware that Carly was suffering from a mental illness, because it's hard to look at a person and understand that they have a mental illness. It's hard to look at a person and know that they have a mental illness. That's why it's often referred to as the invisible disease. A person can exhibit symptoms of a mental illness without people necessarily knowing that they have one, or other people necessarily knowing that's what another person has. While the events on March 19th were tragic, the events on March 19th were not intentional. The evidence will show, and the testimony will show, that Carly Gregg loved her mother, that Carly Gregg and her mother had a loving, close relationship. Carly Gregg's mom loved her. In fact, her life revolved around Carly, as parents' lives often do revolve around their children. Carly very much wanted to please her mother. Carly was an exceptional student, made a 30 on the ACT when she was 13 years old. She was the apple of her mother and her stepfather's eye. And you will understand by the conclusion of this hearing why Carly's stepfather is still supporting her and standing behind her. Because he knows on March 19th, there were 3 victims: Ashley, Heath, and Carly. The state will ask you to take your good judgment, to take your common sense, and to put it in a bucket, to put the lid on the bucket, and to toss the bucket out of this courtroom. We implore you not to do that, to retain your common sense, to retain your good judgment, and to make sure that you are listening to the evidence as it's presented, because it doesn't matter how many witnesses the state puts on, their story is filled with inconsistencies because they're not telling the whole story. The evidence will not show that Carly was ever deemed dangerous by anyone. The evidence will not show that Carly ever had any desire to hurt her mother. The evidence will not show that Carly ever had any desire to hurt any person. The evidence will not show that Carly invited people over to her house to view her mom's body. What it will show is that on March 19th, a hysterical Carly called her closest friends, begging them for help, begging them to help her. The evidence will show that Carly did not recognize Heath Smiley when he got home that day. You'll hear that from him himself. The evidence will show that Carly was so terrified when Heath Smiley got home on March 19th that even after Carly left the house, Heath walked around the house with the handgun in his hand looking for an intruder because he was convinced by Carly, by how she appeared, by how she acted, by what she did that day, by the child he had known for years that he was seeing on that day, that she was terrified, something horrible would happen, and that there must have been someone else in that house to cause that kind of terror in Carly. What the evidence will not show is that Carly had a drug problem. What the evidence will not show is that Carly and her mother had any argument on March 19th. What the evidence will not show is that Carly had any desire to hurt her stepfather. What the evidence will not show is that Ashley Smiley was angry when she left school that day, or that Ashley Smiley was upset with Carly when she left school that day, or that after they got home on March 19th, Ashley and Carly engaged in an argument. The evidence will not show that Ashley Smiley found anything in Carly's bedroom that would have caused an argument. The evidence will not show that Carly intended to hurt anyone. The evidence will not show that Carly has not grieved her mother's loss. The evidence will not show that law enforcement did their due diligence in investigating this matter. The evidence will not show that Carly was abusing or misusing prescription medication. The evidence will not show that Carly had a secret life, but rather was just a teenager who had a life that her parents didn't know everything about. That's called having a teenager and being a parent. The evidence will not show that Carly had ever tried to harm another person. had ever had a desire to hurt another person. The evidence will not show that Carly is a monster, that Carly was a difficult child, a troubled child, or a deranged child. The evidence will not show that Carly Gregg does not deserve you to return a verdict of not guilty. Now, the evidence will show that Carly had a family history of mental illness. In fact, it was well documented. The evidence will show that Carly was concerned that something was wrong with her. She wrote journal entries about it. The evidence will show that Carly was afraid she had the same mental illness that her father had. The evidence will show that Carly's mother had worried for years about Carly having the same mental illness that her father had. The evidence will show that Carly was very emotionally tied into her mother's emotions and that Carly never wanted her mother to worry about her. The evidence will show that Carly was scared of how her mother would react to the knowledge that if Carly had the same mental illness that her father had. That doesn't sound like a child that doesn't love her mom. And that doesn't sound like a child who has any intention of hurting her mother. The state would like you to believe that it's normal for a child to go home from school one day with their mother, who they love, and shoot her, but nothing's wrong. It was just marijuana. Or because she was on social media and her mom didn't want her on social media. But again, we ask you to retain your common sense and to retain your good judgment, because we know that just doesn't make sense. And at the end of this trial, if the state's case still leaves you feeling like their version of events just doesn't make sense, then you must return a verdict of not guilty.
State may call its first witness.
State calls Kevin Collins, Your Honor. Your Honor, members of the ladies approaching, we'll start with the TBS.
Yeah, my foot went all the way down.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Adjust yourself up to the microphone.
Yes.
Do you understand that you're now under oath and your answers to be sworn answers under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name's Kevin Collins.
And Mr. Collins, where do you work?
I work Rankin County Sheriff's Department dispatch.
All right. And you say dispatch. Explain to us just a little bit about what dispatch is and what you do as part of your job responsibilities.
Basically, we take all the incoming calls from the county and the community, even some from the cities for emergency situations, and we dispatch proper personnel, whether it be medical, fire, law enforcement.
And how long have you worked for Rankin County Sheriff's Office in that role?
I started in Sheriff's Department February 7th, 2022.
Okay. And before February of 2022, did you have any experience working in that role in any other for any other departments or agencies?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen about that?
I started with Hinds County Sheriff's Department in June of 2007. I worked 2 years at the city of Flowood, and then I worked Yazoo County E911, a couple years at Mendenhall Police Department, and then the last 6 years before I came to Rankin County, I was a supervisor at the city of Florence.
And you talked about some of your job duties and responsibilities. As part of your responsibilities and duties, do you dispatch fire services?
Yes, we do fire services.
Do you dispatch police?
Yes,
EMTs?
that is done through Pafford.
Okay. Who contacts Pafford in the event that EMTs are needed?
We transfer the caller. In the perfect situation, we transfer the caller to Pafford so they can ask the proper questions.
Okay. And I understand that over the years, maybe some of the training requirements have changed, but whenever you became a dispatcher, what were the training requirements in order to become a dispatcher?
Within the first year, you had to go through a 40-hour basic certification class plus a 8-hour ride along with each department that you dispatch, whether it be fire, law enforcement, medical. Every continuous year, you have to do 48 hours in 6 different subjects for every 3 years to recertify.
So did you do those initial requirements back whenever you started?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you ride along with those different agencies that you dispatched?
Yes, I did.
All right. And have you kept up your continuing education hours throughout the years?
Yes, sir, I have.
And who are you certified through? Who keeps up with that?
Board of Standards and Training through the state of Mississippi.
Okay. And you said you've worked at Rankin County since February of 2022. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you guys work in shifts, or how does your schedule work?
We do. My shift is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we do a 3-2 split, which is like 1 week we'll work Monday, Tuesday, and then the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the next week we will work Wednesday and Thursday. And it just alternates the following weeks.
Okay. How many dispatchers work at a time for Rankin County?
There's 4 of us at a time on duty.
And how do you guys handle calls that come in to, say, 911?
If it's an emergency situation, then, we've got this thing where we'll snap our fingers and somebody else will pick up on the call. That way one of us can get all the information we can while the other one's dispatching it out. So
is it possible that more than one person can be listening to the call at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to take you back to March 19th of this year, March 19th, 2024. Were you employed as a dispatcher with Rankin County at that time?
Yes, I was.
And that was as a dispatcher?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
Do you recall receiving a call from an individual by the name of Mr. Heath Smiley that day?
Yes, I do.
And what was the reason for Mr. Smiley calling 911?
He called because he had been shot. At first, he said he had grazed the neck. Once during the middle of the call, he then stated that his wife was also shot dead on the floor. And I continued to talk to him until deputies arrived on scene.
And do you recall the address that Mr. Smiley was calling from?
Yes, it was 214 Ashton's Way.
Okay. Is that address located in Rankin County?
Yes, it is.
Okay. How How, Mr. Collins, how would you describe Mr. Smiley's demeanor whenever you first picked up the phone that day?
He was very distraught. At first, I thought I was speaking with a female. It wasn't until I found out his name that I knew it was a male. And then I just continued to get further information from him, what I could. He couldn't even, when I asked him the address the first time, he couldn't even tell me the address. I went off of the 911, which gave us, I believe, 215 Ashton Way. And then later on during the call, I verified with him what his address was.
Okay. And you mentioned that Mr. Smiley stated that he was grazed and that his wife was dead. Did he tell you anything else?
He also advised that his stepdaughter had shot him and that he had taken the gun from her and she ran out the back door wearing, I believe, a gray shirt and jeans and went over the back fence. I got a description from him that we could pass along to our officers, and that's about most of it, except he did also advise that she had been going through some things and was on medication trying to deal with some stuff.
Okay. When someone calls 911, are those calls recorded?
Yes, they are.
And do you know whether or not those calls are kept in the normal course of business by the Rankin County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Do you know whether your call with Mr. Smiley on March 19, 2024 was recorded?
Yes, it was.
And do you know whether or not that call was kept in the normal course and scope of business by the Rankin County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you listened to that call before?
Yes, I have.
May I approach, Your Honor? Mr. Collins, I handed you an item. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir. It's a disc of the recording
And how do you know that's what that is?
because I initialed and dated it.
Okay. Have you watched or listened to that call before?
Yes, I have.
And you said there are some initials on there. Are those your initials?
Yes, sir, they are.
Whenever you listened to that call, did it appear to be altered or edited in any way?
No, it did not.
Okay. Your Honor, at this point, we would move this disc in as State's Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Be admitted S1, all purposes.
May I retrieve the disc, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Collins, you mentioned that you listened to this. Is this a complete call recording of the call with Mr. Smiley that day?
Yes, it is from beginning to end.
Okay. Your Honor, may I publish this for the jury, please?
Yes, sir.
What's the location of your emergency? What daughter did you shoot me? Your daughter tried to shoot you? Yeah. She was shooting at me. Where's she at? She ran away. How old is she? 14. 14? Okay, ma'am, stay on the phone. Ma'am, stay on the phone with me. Just calm down. What's your name? My name is Smiley. Okay, Okay, calm down for me. Give me your name again. Heath Smiley. Heath Smiley? Yes, sir. All right, Miss Sarah, what's your phone number you calling me from? Did she hit you? Yeah, I got hit in the neck a little bit. Okay, so did it graze your neck? Yes, sir. All right, and what's her name? Carly Gregg. Carly Gregg? Does she still have a gun on her? I took it from her. She ran. You took it from her and she ran? Yes, sir. She was screaming something at me I couldn't understand. I locked the door. She's outside. I don't know what's going on. Which way did she run off to? She ran into the backyard and went over a fence. Ran into the backyard and went over your fence? Yeah. What is she wearing? T-shirt, gray shirt and some jeans. Gray shirt and jeans? About how tall is she? 5'2". About 5'2"? What color hair? Brownish, brownish and short hair. 5'2" with back door, she opened fire on me. And was just screaming. Okay, just calm down for me. We got everybody headed. She what? She killed her mom. She killed her mom? Yeah, that's what I'm screaming about. Where's the mom? When I do this, she's going to kill me. Where's the mom at? Sir. 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 Okay, your address is 215, correct? 214. 214. His address is 214. Okay, sir. Where's your wife? She's dead on the floor of my stepdaughter's room. She's on the floor in your stepdaughter's room? What's your wife's name? Ashley Smiley. Ashley Smiley? Was there any problem with you, sir? Sir, I need you to speak with me, okay? Can you go outside the house and speak to me? Okay. Okay. Now, was there any problem going on with is it your stepdaughter or? It's my stepdaughter. and her mom. I don't know what's going on. The stepdaughter's in therapy for a little while, trying to work out some problems in the home, and ain't nothing distracted. Okay, and you say your wife has been shot? Okay, sir, I'm gonna let you speak with them, okay? Okay. Speak with them, okay?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the defense wish to use the projector for cross-examination?
The defense has no cross-examination.
All right, you may step down, sir. Are you going to use that with your next witness?
Yes, sir.
Before we go to the next witness, any jurors need a restroom break? All right, state may call its next witness.
State calls Deputy Hunter Lewis, Your Honor.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Have a seat. Adjust yourself up to the microphone. Do you understand that you're now under oath and your answers will be sworn answers of the penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Would you please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Hunter Lewis,
All right, Hunter, and where do you work?
Rankin County Sheriff's Office,
All right, and what role do you work at the sheriff's office?
patrol.
All right, and as a patrol deputy at Rankin County, what do you do on a daily basis?
I answer 911 calls and assist the public when they call for assistance.
Okay. How long have you been in law enforcement?
9 years.
Okay. Have you worked anywhere other than Rankin County, or have you been at Rankin County all 9 years?
Yes, I've worked other places.
Okay. Where else have you worked?
I worked at Hines County, Flowwood.
And where did you start? Did you start at Hines County?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of training did you go through in order to become a certified police officer?
Went to Mississippi Law Enforcement Officer Training Academy.
Okay. And approximately how long is that training?
12 weeks.
As a patrol deputy now at Rankin County, do you complete any kind of ongoing training or continuing education?
I do.
And tell us just a little bit about what kind of training you go through.
We have to do annual training yearly throughout the year.
Okay. And what kind of topics does that annual training cover?
Just different aspects of the job.
Okay. Is it related to patrol or is it investigations? Tell us just a little bit about it.
Patrol.
Okay. Now, I want to take you back to March of this year, specifically March 19th, 2024. Were you employed as a patrol deputy at Rankin County on March 19th, 2024?
Yes, sir, I was.
All right. Do you recall receiving a call for service at 214 Ashton Way?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Is that in a subdivision or where is that?
It is.
What subdivision is that?
It's in Farmington Station.
Okay. Is that in Rankin County?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. Did you respond to 214 Ashton Way?
Yes, sir, I do.
Whenever you arrived at 214 Ashton Way on March 19, 2024, were there any other law enforcement personnel there whenever you arrived?
No, sir.
So were you the first one there?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Whenever you arrived on scene that day on March 19th at 214 Ashland Way, just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you observed whenever you got there.
When I arrived, the door was locked, but I could hear somebody screaming and highly upset on the inside of the house.
Okay. Did you later find out who was inside the house?
Yes, sir, I did.
Who was that?
He's Smiley.
At any point, did Mr. Smiley come outside or tell us what happened next?
Yes, I knocked on the door several times, announced who I was, and then he opened the door.
Can you describe Mr. Smiley's demeanor that you personally observed?
He was hysterical, highly upset, crying.
Okay. Whenever he came out, tell us what happened next.
He fell to the ground on the porch just outside the front door once, and then I asked him where his wife was. He said that she was inside on the floor.
What information, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Deputy Lewis, what information, if any, had you been provided by dispatch?
Just advised that there had been 2 people shot inside the residence.
Okay, so you stated that Mr. Smiley came outside, then you spoke to him briefly. Then what happened next?
After I spoke to him, I went inside to check on the other party, and she was deceased inside the bedroom.
Okay, and then did you do anything to Miss Smiley whenever you encountered her inside?
I did. I initially checked for a pulse, and I couldn't feel the pulse, so I lifted the towel to see what kind of see what had happened, and that's when I noticed she had been shot in the face.
Okay, you mentioned a towel. Tell us, we haven't heard that before, so tell us what are you talking about? You lifted the towel.
Whenever I entered into the bedroom, she was laying flat on her back with her arms crossed with a towel over her face.
How were her arms crossed, if you recall?
Across the top of her chest.
Okay. And did you later confirm the identity of the female inside?
I did.
And who was that?
Ashley Smiley.
Okay. After checking Miss Smiley's pulse, what did you do then?
Then went back outside. I radio dispatched and asked them to have medical come on in, and went back outside to where Mr. Smiley was.
Okay. Whenever you got back outside, were there any other law enforcement officers there at that time?
There was one close.
Okay. And who was that?
Deputy Dustin Smith.
Okay. And once you returned back outside and encountered Mr. Smiley again on the front porch, what happened after that?
He told me who had shot him and what she was, and gave me a description of what she was wearing.
And who did he tell you shot him?
His stepdaughter.
And what type of, did he identify her name?
Carly Gregg.
Okay. And what did he tell you she was wearing?
She was wearing, I can't recall exactly what he has told me.
And then after that, what did you do next with that information?
Radioed to the units that was responding.
Okay. Did Mr. Smiley ever say anything about a gun or anything like that?
He did.
Okay. Tell us about that.
He advised that the gun that was used was laying on the counter and there was one live round in the cylinder.
Did he say what type of gun it was?
357.
Okay. And then what did you do after that, if anything?
I let the other officers know about the weapon, and then had the crime scene taped off.
Okay. And so how long did you stay out there that day?
Until the coroner's office took possession of Miss Smiley.
Okay. And after, at some point, did investigators get there? What happened with that?
When they arrived on scene, they started taking photographs and processing the scene.
Okay. Now, Deputy Lewis, as a patrol deputy with Rankin County, do you wear a body-worn camera?
Yes, sir, I do.
and tell us, you know, when do you activate your camera?
Anytime dealing with the public.
Okay. On March 19th, 2024, whenever you responded to 214 Ashton Way, were you wearing body worn camera that day?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did your body worn camera, in fact, record? Did it record what happened whenever you arrived there on the scene?
Yes, sir, it did.
Do you know whether that body worn camera footage is kept by the Rankin County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir, it is.
Since March 19th, 2024, have you reviewed that footage?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor? Deputy Lewis, I handed you an object. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is that?
It's a copy of my body cam footage
How do you know that's what that is?
because I initialed it after I watched it.
Okay. So you watched that and initialed it.
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. That the footage that you watched on there, is that a true and accurate depiction of what your body cam recorded on March 19th, 2024 at 214 Ashton Way?
Yes, sir, it is.
Had that video been edited or altered in any way?
No, sir.
Your Honor, at this time we would move this in as State's Exhibit 2.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Be admitted without objection, S2.
And Your Honor, I would ask for permission to post this to the jury.
All right.
Yeah, go back inside. Sheriff's Office! Sheriff's Office! What's... Hey, come outside for me. Hey, come on. Hey, where's your wife at, bud? Where's your wife at?
She's dead on the floor in that room.
She's where? Sheriff's Office! Hello? That's I need Mabel here. Mel, I need you to go. Hey, where's your son wearing? Hey, can you tell me what your son's wearing? Hey, I need you to talk to me. What is your son wearing?
He was in jeans and Gray's t-shirt. She's got short brownish hair.
So jeans, a gray t-shirt, short brown hair.
She ran into the backyard. I tried to follow her. She jumped the fence and ran. She shot me in the neck.
But
It's okay.
does she still have the gun?
It's on the kitchen counter. I think there's one light round left in it. I opened the cylinder. I went in the back door. She tried to shoot me.
Hey, I need some gloves. Hey, he's saying that she ran towards Magnolia Place.
Are you sure?
He's Graves, but he's 10-2. They went through his shirt.
You got me right there.
Magnolia Place had a gated subdivision.
She went over the side back towards my vehicle. She might have looked around this way.
Might look back going back towards the pond right there. Hold on just a second. Look. Hey, she does not have the phone. The phone's here at the house. Hey, he's been great, but he's 10-2. She's laying in the floor with a towel. She's sorry, that one says something. Do me a favor? Will you take that tape right there and just go to the tree, from my car to those trees? Actually, go for the mailbox. It's a 357. C7? Okay. Does she have any kind of, what's her name? What?
Carly Gregg.
Carly Gregg? How old is she?
14. She'll be 15 next month.
Okay. She jumped the fence, he said. She didn't go out the back door. Is he the only one? No, we got one. She's in there. The back door is locked. She did not go out the back door. Therefore, that's what he's claiming. Gray shirt, blue jeans, short brown hair. Hey, y'all do be advised. There's several firearms in the house, but the one that he's saying was used is laying on the table, but that doesn't mean she's not on it.
We don't know if she's gone.
All right, look to me right here. You going? Yeah, I got it. 9682. There was a white male walking in whenever I was coming in. She's 14. Hey, buddy, listen to me, okay? I need to get some information from you. What is her name again?
Carly, C-A-R-L-Y.
C-A-R-L-Y?
Carly Madison Gregg, G-R-E-G-G.
G-R-E-G-G?
She's my stepdaughter.
All right.
Her dad lives in Starkville, and we're having all kind of problems with him. He's
Okay.
drugs and
What is your name, sir?
Keith Smiley.
Keith Smiley?
ID.
Okay.
She's getting back for that. All right.
What's your wife's number? Name?
Ashley Smiley. All right. Have you called her? Have you called her? Call her. Your wife. I did call her number twice, and I was in there looking for her.
Hey, how old is Ashley? How's your wife?
40.
40? I need you to find an Ashley Smiley. Ashley Smiley, 40 years of age, white female. Also, I got a 27 for the other victims. 801-151-492. Suspect is going to be Carly, C-A-R-L-Y, Madison Gregg. Carly Madison Gregg, G-R-E-G-G.
Yes, sir. The top degree. Top right.
Hey, let me, y'all just roll with him right now, or y'all, I need to get a picture.
What I was gonna say is if you need to get anything with him, you do it.
Yeah.
And
We're going to have somebody come to the hospital, I'm sure.
so yeah. So I'm just
That's all I need. This is wife, this is yeah, his wife. That's her running. That's why he kept asking her mom. That's his wife. And he kept asking me to call his wife. I was trying to.
okay. All right.
This is their stepdaughter who did.
Yes. Go ahead and do what you got to do.
Hey, so he's gonna, no, I mean, I'm getting information good. It's a through the shoulder. That's right now. This is him. That she's what? She's Ashley Smiley, she's 40 years old. And then the one we're looking for is Carly Madison Gregg. She's 14. They've been having issues with her in the dad. So this is the stepfather. But they're fixing to pay him now. If we need anything else from him, they're fixing to roll him. I said we'll probably send somebody up there with him. Yeah. You know what you say, brother? Baptist. Where you go? Yeah, I'm saying. Get a picture, you know. It'll be good. I'm sorry about that. No. You're fine. That's why I was trying to just like. So you're gonna want the 6? Why? That's a whole little girl's mother. There's several guns in the house. I need a crime scene log. If I leave, it's going to take care of my dogs. So we'll take care of that, okay? You can let them in the kennel. We'll take care of the dogs, okay? You try to take a picture of that so y'all have it for y'all's information. I'm just going to get all this information from him. I don't need that. Okay, all right. I got Reverend going to start this for me. Okay. What's his name? Burnell. Tyler Burnell. Okay. I thought I recognized him. He's ex-Pearl. Yeah, Pearl and Flowwood, all of them. They've been everywhere. Uh-huh. That be better? Works for me, but it's going to be, we use it up pretty quick. Nah, I get it from Burnell. Yeah, hey, turn around. Hey, y'all turn around real quick. He's trying to take a picture. You want I don't think 20 has one either right now. Oh, that's right. I have no idea. He said they've been having issues. I couldn't really get nothing out of it. I didn't really get much from him because he's so, you know, all he told me is she took, huh? He's a little jacked up. Yeah. All he kept telling me was she ran out the back door, but the back door is deadbolted. You got blood. Yeah, what's the easiest way? Maybe he probably didn't kind of in the heat of things to try to keep it from coming back. And he said the wife's name was Ashley. Ashley? Yeah. And it's Ashley Smiley. Ashley Smiley. Where's mom? I just she in the back bedroom. Tyler, yeah. Hey Tyler, the gun that's used is right there on the counter in the kitchen. No. Nobody? No. So still alive? Yeah. My dust hit. Dad saw who. She's in here. Also, no, it was a juvenile on the other side waiting for her. What? Oh, that's the guys got his ass picked up? Yeah, I got that off. Sweet. Figure out where the fuck she's going. Now this is Cott's case. Hey, there's a bunch of gun cases and stuff laying right there. That closet smelling full of guns. So we know she may still have access to them. She's in there, Doug. I'm not going to move anything to follow the. I mean, I couldn't get nothing in the front door. It's 3 and 3. He was explaining something to me about the father, because he's stepdad too. Okay. Yeah. He said that they're having issues with that. Tell him me and Dustin's already cleared the house. Me and Dustin's already cleared the house. Me and Dustin cleared the house.
I'm talking every closet, under the bed, everything. You know how you don't hide the damn spot.
But Dad, he said she ran out the back door.
I know. But Dad might. You never know. Look, I want to go through the house and I want to very politely. I want to look under beds. I want to look in closets, behind clothes. Let's make sure she's not in this house before we exhaust a whole lot out of it. You know how juveniles are.
Yeah. Me and Dustin walked through and cleared the house, but I mean,
did you look under beds?
We didn't get that far. We looked in closets and stuff like that.
Hey, come in here.
Yeah, I quickly cleared it, but I hadn't.
Yeah, let's help.
Clear. Hey. That's mom. Yeah. Yeah. No, mom and dad both got it.
Mom and dad both what?
Got hit.
Okay. And dad's
got her through and through on the shoulder. He's already in the ambulance.
Was it a 14-year-old?
Yeah, the 14-year-old.
Yeah. I found out on the way here. Yeah. I get ready to 4 years old. Did y'all not hear Gregg? Yeah, I heard Gregg. I'm going. Right. Who the fuck was that? You guys said he was trying to meet with her? Yeah, well, she texted.
No. Where was the other guy? Who was that? The one I was just talking to? Yeah. Maxie? Maxie. Okay. Yeah. That's it for me on. What do you want, Nancy? She's 14, so she's not gonna have anything. But there's some screens. There's some screens in here. You see, this thing right here is doing some pictures. But he said her hair is short now. They got her. Oh. They got me.
Deputy Lewis, I heard a call out there. They said that they got her 17:35. Is that 5:35 p.m.?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And what did you know about whether or not anybody was taken into custody at that time?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What did they mean whenever they said that they took her into custody at 17:35?
They took her into custody at 5:35.
And do you know who that was that they were talking about?
Yes, sir. It was one of our interdiction units.
Okay. And who did they take into custody?
Carly Gregg.
Okay. And I think the video goes on a little bit longer, but I think your testimony was earlier that you stayed out there until the coroner showed up. Is that correct?
That is.
And what type of things were you doing until the coroner showed up?
Just help processing the scene and.
Okay. Court's indulgence. Two more brief questions, Deputy Lewis. I heard you use two, I guess in the police world, what they call 10 codes on there. And I think you said one was 10-2 and one was 10-7. Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that means?
10-2 means okay and 10-7 means deceased.
Okay. And who were you referring to as 10-2 in the video?
Heath Smiley.
And who was 10-7?
The mother, Ashley Smiley.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you intend to use the video?
No, Your Honor.
All right. If you, Mr. Livingston, if you would, he's not going to use that. Would you move that out of the way, please?
Sir.
You don't have to unplug it necessarily.
Okay.
Okay. Court. One moment, Mr. King. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Hunter, you were the first person on the scene. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is.
And I guess you had to knock on the door a few times in order to get Heath to come to the door. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I think when you answer, or I guess when he comes to the door, you see him and he's talking on a cell phone, correct?
Yes, sir, that is.
And at that time, he's actually talking to the 911 dispatcher, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then did you have him go out? I wasn't 100% sure when I was looking at the video. Did you have him come out or did he come out and sit down?
Well, I asked him to come out.
Okay. And so when he comes out, you notice he's been injured at that point. Or did you, I think you asked him if he was injured or you were able to ascertain that he was injured, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you had him sit down. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you did that because you're looking out for his safety. And if somebody's been injured, you don't want them walking around and and possibly fainting and doing things like that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you were having him get on or sit down, try to calm down, because at this point you're trying to get some information from him about what happened, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I noticed you ask him what happened. He's telling you that I guess somebody had shot him. Is that correct?
Say that again, sir.
You were asking what happened, and he said somebody had shot him. Is that correct?
I don't recall that, sir.
Okay. He didn't tell you somebody had shot him? Didn't you ask him what happened, and he said that his stepdaughter had shot him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think it took you a couple times because you had asked, what does your son look like? And it took you a couple that you had to think to realize that it's actually a stepdaughter, not a stepson. Would that be correct?
Yes, sir.
And this is all on video, correct? I mean, we just saw the video. This is all on video.
Yes, sir.
That's what we would call a body cam, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you have certain policy and procedures with the body cam, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I think you had said when you first got up on the stand, you were asked about why you wear a body cam or what it is. And you said any time that you have interaction with the public.
Yes, sir.
And it's for your safety. And it's also for the safety of the, I guess, the public, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have certain policies that say, as long as you're out there, you can't turn that body cam off, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's a Rankin County Sheriff Department policy, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's I guess if you're wearing a body cam, you are, I guess, and you're with the Sheriff Department, everybody follows the same procedures.
Yes, sir.
May I beg the court's indulgence? No further questions.
Redirect.
Deputy Lewis, Mr. Camp was just asking about body cams. Do you know whether investigators, in your personal knowledge, do you know whether the investigators with the Rankin County Sheriff's Office wear body cams?
I don't know that, sir.
Okay. And the gentleman who showed up out there with the white shirt on, who was that?
Investigator Burnell.
Okay. Of course it does.
Nothing further. May this witness be excused by the state,
Yes.
by the defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can stand down. I'll approach real quick. I'm gonna have the bailiff show you back, take a restroom break real quick, just so y'all know, we do our best not to go past 5:30, okay? While you're back there, you'll need to go on ahead and start talking among yourselves about a very important topic, lunch tomorrow, okay? You have two options. And do not sleep on the first option, okay? The jail is serving pork chops tomorrow, okay? And I don't mind telling you, I'm gonna eat a pork chop tomorrow, okay? If you don't want the pork chop, we have a very limited menu available from Nukes, okay? I'm going to hand these to the bailiff when he takes you back there. Go on ahead and use the restroom, but we need to make a decision tonight about lunch tomorrow. Just for your knowledge, we're going to work through, okay? The lawyers are on their own for food, but the court will feed y'all, okay? So y'all go ahead and start having that discussion among yourselves about tomorrow. Use this time for a restroom break. Everyone remain seated while the jury exits.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with us here at WLBT Plus for the coverage of Carly Gregg and her murder trial. Right now, the jury is exiting the courtroom. They're taking a quick break, bathroom break. The judge said, Judge Arthur. He also said that that they try not to go past 5:30. So they'll be coming back in, and we'll sure I'm sure we will hear some more testimony from different witnesses. Probably some more law enforcement officers will come onto the stand. But that's what we are waiting on, and what we saw and heard today was some very hard things to hear. We heard the 911 call that Heath Smiley, Carly Gregg's stepfather, made when after he was shot, and we heard in that phone call, in that 911 call, we heard him discover his wife's body. Absolute heartbreaking situation there. Hearing that, just imagining yourself in that moment it was a very tough thing to hear, an extremely tough thing to hear. And even Carly herself started crying profusely during this time. Then when they played the 911 call, then they had the first deputy on the scene of the incident. His name was Hunter Lewis. Let me make sure that I'm saying that right. Yes, Deputy Hunter Lewis with the Rankin County Sheriff's Department, and he's been with the Rankin County Sheriff's Department for a couple of years now, according to his testimony. And they played the body cam footage of when he arrived at the home, and then what followed after that. Them him discovering Ashley Smiley's body there on the floor, and also talking with Heath Smiley about who shot him. At first, the deputy was confused, and he thought that it was the son. He thought there was a son and not daughter, not Carly. So there was a little bit of confusion there right at first. But then we also hear in the body cam footage them talking about how they have her in custody. So that's where we are at right now. We have first heard the 911 call. We first heard opening statements from the ADA of Rankin County, and then we heard opening statements from Bridget Todd, which is Carly's lead defense attorney. And so we heard those statements, and then we had the witnesses get on the stand. We had a gentleman who is with the dispatch in Rankin County, and I have his name here, Kevin Collins, who's a dispatch with Rankin County. He got on and he talked about receiving that 911 call from Heath Smiley. They played that 911 call, and then Deputy Hunter Lewis of Rankin County Sheriff's Department got on the stand, and he talked about his what he witnessed going to the call, arriving there on scene, and then they played his body cam footage. So that's where we're at right now. The jury is taking a break, restroom break, and according to Judge Dewey Arthur, a very important choice of what they're going to have for lunch tomorrow, which I imagine that it's going to be probably hard to eat. It would be hard for me if I were in that situation, but there it is. So that's what we're looking at right now. Their judge said they're trying not to go over 5:30 on court on cases like this. So we're just waiting for them to get back in the courtroom now. Let's see. I'm looking here at your comments. You guys have had a lot to say during this. Courtney Peterson said that she went to the middle school and her mother taught at the high school. Yes, that is correct. Carly went to the middle school, and then her mother was a teacher at the high school, Ashley Smiley. Let's see. Tanya Phillips responding to someone says the court ruled earlier youth court focus on rehabilitation. There's no rehabilitating a murderer at this age or a murderer. I'm assuming you probably meant a murderer who is charged as an adult versus charged as a juvenile. Robin is asking who is paying her legal fees. We don't know that, and I don't know if we would be privy to that information, but that is not something that we have. And just looking through here, I just want to make sure that I don't want to say anything that or put anything up on the screen that should not be put up there. Yeah, so you guys have got a lot to say about this, and it is a horrible situation. It's sad, that phone call, just to hear that pain in Heath Smiley's voice. It was hard to not get a little teary eyed with that. It really, really was. Okay. So that's what we are waiting on, and waiting for Carly and I'm sorry, we're waiting for the jury to come back in, for them to come off of their quick recess, gave them a bathroom break. We're going to go back into the courtroom. Remember, it is muted right now. So if you just see the seal of Mississippi and silence, that's because they have it muted in between everything. So if I need to come back on, I will. But I am still here watching this with you guys. And we're going to go back into the courtroom now.
Who's the state's next witness? All right, for any media in the room, state statute prohibits you recording audio or video any juvenile. And this court's prior order was that any juveniles to be referred to in the press by initials. So, Mr. Cameraman, turn off the camera. You're done. You're good. All right.
Hey guys, I'm sorry for breaking in on you, but I just wanted to remind everyone that when a juvenile is on the stand, a juvenile witness is on the stand, we will not, cannot show their face or their voice to protect that juvenile. So that is what is happening right now. There is a juvenile on the stand, and as soon as this portion of the trial commences, once they are no longer on the stand, assuming another juvenile does not take the stand, we will be able to hear again what is happening. But that is why there is a pause in the sound and in the video right now. It's because it is a juvenile on the stand right now. Want to also remind you guys to make sure you tune into our news coverage tonight. Morgan Harris is our reporter, and she is there in the courtroom right now. And even though we cannot hear or see the juvenile, we cannot hear the juvenile's testimony, Morgan will be able to let us know in her coverage tonight what was being said. So make sure you tune into our newscast later on tonight. Morgan Harris will be there, or will be here to give you all the information. And you can also download the WLBT News app. And when you download the WLBT News app, as soon as we have breaking news or breaking information, we send out notifications. And as soon as Morgan has the story up on our website, you'll also be able to read it there as well. But I just wanted to pop in real quick and remind you of that. Tune into our newscast tonight to find out what is being said here, and then just continue watching with us. As soon as juvenile is no longer on the stand, we will be able to get back into the courtroom, or be able to hear and see what's happening inside the courtroom. Hey guys, so I wanted to let you know who is on the stand right now. Though I don't have their name, I do have their initials, and why this person was being called to the stand. Now, of course, we know that there's a juvenile on stand, and that is why we are not able to see their face, hear their voice, or their testimony, or anything like that. Stated earlier that our reporter Morgan Harris is there. She is in the courtroom, and she will be having a full report of what happened today during our newscast later. So make sure you are tuning into that. However, the person or the child, the juvenile that is on trial, or sorry, that is on the stand right now, that's testifying, their initials are BW. And this is the person that Carly allegedly called after she had shot her mother. Called this person saying that she had an emergency and needed her to come over. This person that came over, their father had to drive them over because the person didn't have a driver's license. They're that young. But they father drove him over, dropped the little girl off. Little girl dropped the child off there to Carly's house. So, what was reported to police by BW is that when she got there, Carly asked her if she had ever seen a dead body, and the witness told her no. And then Gregg proceeded to show her. Carly proceeded to show her her mother's body. Then she told her to wait outside because her stepfather was about to come home. So, in the opening statements, the attorney. ADA, Rankin County ADA, Catherine Newman, she stated that what you would hear from this witness was that Carly told her, showed her the gun, said I had 3 for my mom and 3 for my stepdad, and he's on his way home. Uh, so that is what. That is why this witness is on the stand. This is the witness that Carly called. This is the witness that came over. This is the witness that, according to the witness, she heard the gunshots from when Heath Smiley was shot. She heard those. She was outside the home. Now, we're also told that after Carly shot her stepfather, Heath Smiley, that she took off running out of the back door and jumped over the fence. This friend also ran and jumped over the fence with her, but they went in 2 separate directions after that. So that is who is on the stand right now. We unfortunately, because they are a minor, cannot show you their face, cannot let you hear their voice or their testimony. But again, we do have Morgan Harris that is there. She's been following this case and she's been there in the courtroom all day. She will have a full report for us later tonight. So make sure you tune into our newscast. We're going to go back into the courtroom now. And as soon as this minor witness is done, then we will have a sound and video back up. Now, the judge did say they try not to go past 5:30 at night for trials. So if this witness does end up taking until that time, until 5:30 to give their testimony, then we may the stream may end today and we'll pick it back up tomorrow morning. Court is supposed to start at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll be here and airing that for you, airing the trial for you all day here on WLBT Plus. So you can always tune in tomorrow to catch it. But also just make sure you tune into Morgan Harris's report tonight because she's going to be able to tell you what we can't hear or see right now. Let's go back into the courtroom. Hey everybody, popping back in to let you know what's going on. I see where some of you are just now joining our live stream on our social and are asking questions. What's going on? We know who the juvenile is. Well, can't we see her? Well, actually, the juvenile that is on stand right now is not Carly. This juvenile that is on stand right now is goes by the initials BW, or doesn't go. That is their initials, BW, and this is the friend that Carly called that came over to the home after Carly allegedly shot her mother. So that is who is on stand right now. We cannot show the face or the voice sound from this individual because they are juvenile. And so this is not being shown to protect them. We're still live because the trial is still going on. And once the juvenile is no longer on the stand, then sound and video will come back. Now, the judge said earlier that they usually try not to go past 5:30 p.m. for trials. So, assuming that this witness is done on stand before then, we should be able to hear a more testimony, more witness testimony. Otherwise, if they go to recess overnight, then we will come back tomorrow morning with you and start streaming it from the beginning tomorrow morning. But right now, the reason why there's no sound and there is nobody on the screen, rather, I apologize, because the reason why there's no sound and nobody on the screen is because they're a juvenile on the stand, not Carly. This is the juvenile friend that Carly called after she had shot her mom. There are several juveniles that have been called as witnesses for this case, for this trial. So this may happen from time to time over the next few days as the trial continues. Anytime a juvenile is on the stand, we will not be able to show their face. We will not so their voice or air their voice. What we do have, though, is the amazing Morgan Harris in the courtroom right now. She's been there all day. She'll be there tomorrow. She'll be following this trial from the courtroom, and you can catch her story and her breakdown of this tonight on our newscast. And by catching it then with her, you'll be able to find out what was said with the juvenile. What did this person testify to? So that is what we're doing right now. We're waiting to see if I can go back into coverage that we can see and hear if the juvenile leaves the stand before the court ends today. So we're going to go back into the courtroom, but that's why we don't have any sound or video right now, because it is a juvenile witness that is not Carly on the stand right now. And we want to make sure that we protect them as best as we can. So we're going to go back in the courtroom now and wait to hopefully be able to finish out some testimony tonight. Otherwise, we'll be back tomorrow morning.
case, you're not to do any independent research. And please don't go home and get on social media, okay? With those 3 admonitions, I'm going to turn y'all over to the bailiff, but I do need y'all to make a decision as to lunch tomorrow because I have to order tonight, okay? If you're vegan or you have some special issue, you can pack lunch. These are the options that I have, okay? So just before y'all leave tonight, please make that decision. If you want to bring something, we'll provide you a refrigerator. We'll provide you a microwave. We're going to take care of you every possible way that we can. I'm going to ask y'all to be back in the jury room at 8:45 tomorrow, ready to go at 8:45. Everyone remain seated while the jury exits. Mr. Bailiff, take charge of the jury. All right, I'm going to ask with the jury to be back at 8:45 tomorrow. I'm going to ask the attorneys for both sides to be here at 8:30, ready to go. All right, along with your witnesses. We're moving along at a pretty fair clip, so if the defense has any witnesses, they may want to have them ready after lunch tomorrow. All right? Anything further from the state?
No, sir.
Anything further from the defense?
No.
All right.
I apologize. I do have one other thing, just to make sure that the witnesses, the people that have been in the courtroom know that they're not allowed to discuss the testimony with potential other witnesses.
There should be no discussion about testimony with witnesses from either side. All right. Anything further from the state?
No, sir.
From the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right. We'll stand in recess till 8:30 tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
All right, so they are now in recess until tomorrow morning at 8:30. 8:30, if you are not from around here and you're watching this at 8:30 Central Time, and we will be here. We will be here ready to go. They wanted to be back in the courtroom, so I'm guessing that we probably won't start the stream until 9, but I'm going to be here at 8:30 anyway, just to make sure that we get all of this in for you. If you've been with us all day, thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the continuation of coverage of the Carly Gregg murder trial. Also, make sure you tune in to our newscast tonight so you can hear from Morgan Harris and find out what happened in that courtroom that we weren't able to see, and just get a breakdown of the whole trial today. She was in there from the early this morning when they were picking the jury until right now. She's still there. So tune in tonight to our newscast to find out what exactly has happened. Otherwise, I will be back tomorrow morning. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Have a great evening.